This is the ultimate finish line. You just have a conversation with the founder and you realize that this is his long-term vision and goal. He has already achieved it. And for some of them, it's just an intermediate step. The founder of Rippling specifically, for him reaching $1 billion, he just took a deep breath and said, wow, now I can finally do everything I have always wanted to do. For him, it was simply a powerful platform where he could finally hire a truly great team, where there are abundant resources, and his vision it is the entire company, the ultimate work of his life. He goes to sleep with this company, wakes up with it. He doesn't need anything else, nothing. He says no to everything. There are some people like that who, to absolutely everything that is not rippling, they say no to it. Everything, absolutely everything goes into the company. Everything is for the company. He is completely focused and you can feel it. You really can. Accordingly, I believe Rippling will become a $100 billion company.
Will it win against others?
I think it will just grow another 100-fold.
Because he's like that?
Because that's just the way he naturally operates. He has a very long-term mindset. And there's none of that desire to cash out as profitably as possible.
Do the others do that?
A lot of people do that. For many, $1 billion is everything. The founder ends up with 15%. That's $150 million. That's it. They've already cashed out. Then they go and buy these big luxury houses. And then they're constantly busy furnishing these houses, picking out expensive curtains and tiles, hiring and firing staff. They spend half their time just complaining about the staff. You know, someone stole something again, something didn't work out, or the vibe is just wrong. It's just that basically that's what they're occupied with all day long.
But they're not the ones enjoying it?
That's it. I'm not criticizing anything. I'm just saying that for an investor, if you're putting money into this company, it's not profitable for you. I understand him as a person, but as an investor, of course,
I want someone who really and truly hustles.
An irrational person who has made this their life's work. I really like that. When you're trying to predict at an early stage who will become a unicorn, it's mostly about the person. When you're already at the $1 billion stage, thinking about who has the potential to reach 10 or 100 billion, it's still about the person. But at that point, there are already numbers. You can look at some figures and so on. Now, why does this strategy work? There is a very sad mega trend in the world. It's a sad one, but it's the truth. That fewer and fewer companies are creating all the value in the world.
Let's elaborate on that thought again.
To put it in images, there are all the businesses in the world and all the profit in the world, all the turnover in the world and all the profit in the world. And then there's the concentration of that profit. To put this into perspective, if we use images roughly 30 years ago, 30,000 different companies made 70% of all the world's total profit. However, by last year, 500 companies, 500, made a full 80% of all the world's profit.
There's this kind of monopolization happening.
What a complete idiot.
We've got 3 in Russia. Over there, it's Microsoft. Here, it's Google.
Yes, and that's a mega trend. And then in about 15 years,
50 companies.
To put it in images, 100 companies will make 90% and all the rest will get 10%. This is happening because of digitalization. Thanks to digitalization, a single entrepreneur can expand much more significantly. That used to be impossible. There was simply a limit to what you could control. But now that limit doesn't exist. And these super companies, they're getting bigger and bigger.
Can you give an example of such companies already today? In Russia or outside of Russia?
That is a good question, but if we're talking about the classic business model in Russia, it's Avito. Or, for example, when they arrived, they were immediately ready to invest $200 million because they knew this was a business model where the winner takes it all. And that's exactly what they did. They spent $250 million before earning their first revenue. Zero revenue. Just to get those listings. Then, of course, now Avito earns a net cash flow of $800 million a year, I think. They have a net annual cash flow. That's just the beginning. I think Avito was first sold for $4 billion to Asparsa in dollars. Then Tavrin bought it, I think, for $2.3 billion. That was during the recent crisis. And this company will be worth $20 billion, $40 billion, $50 billion, 100%. Is this the company that's going to be bigger than everyone, Wildberries? Yes, Wildberries also had a chance. Wildberries is smaller there. The winner takes it all. In classifieds, the winner really does take it all because on both sides you have small-scale players. It seems to be the same in retail. That's what happens in big markets. Here, several different marketplaces are constantly competing for a place in the sun. And I think wildberries can afford to make a huge number of mistakes. That is an incredibly massive number, and they will likely still continue to rise even further. But if they make a critical mistake, specifically if they lose the trust of sellers that they will get paid, this entire operation could unravel very quickly. There are plenty of other competitors standing by, ready to catch that opportunity. Accordingly, they haven't pulled so far ahead that right now is a very critical moment for wildberries to hold on, because figuratively speaking, if revenue growth slows down, there's a wave coming. Payments, because the deferred payments to sellers are catching up with them. And if at some point the sellers get scared, it's the same as with the bank. If everyone goes to the bank at the same time to withdraw their money,
that could be the end.
That would be a huge problem. Essentially, it's still a winner takes it all situation. In the world, of course, there's Booking.com, but also Google, Microsoft. These are digital companies that take everything. And it's like the tax authorities, really, isn't it? It becomes like a new kind of tax authority where all these companies just have to pay money in.
What should small and medium business owners do in terms of this megatrend? For example, my son is 6 years old now, and he already doesn't fit into the trends you and I are talking about today, because by the time he's capable, mentally ready, and stands on his own feet, let's say at 20 years old, that's another 14 years from now. That's a long time. So if we take this pessimistic prediction, it turns out that the opportunities for the creation and development of small and medium-sized businesses is becoming less and less possible. So it would be right for people, as if it's not even worth selling your house anymore. The idea of becoming a top manager in 15 to 20 years, because becoming a top manager at Avito is more likely to lead to success, to standing on your own feet, than I would.
So many people want to be a top manager.
Yeah, but
that's also a lot of competition.
Granted, but overall, as a mega trend, if say 90% of people are concentrated in one company or in the previous 5 companies, or if you have 10%, there are still a ton of people who want to build their own business.
Well, look, the future looks like this. Now, there are already major trillion-dollar companies, even incredible $3 trillion companies, right? In US dollars.
Nvidia.
So basically, even being a billionaire isn't that impressive anymore. Because if you're a billionaire, the first trillionaire is coming soon, very soon. There are already people with $250 billion. So the first trillionaires will appear very soon. So even if you have $1 billion, there are people in the world who have 1,000 times more.
That sounds scary.
Yeah, that's how it is. So how can you be happy about your achievements? Figuratively speaking, if you treat business like a game, imagine it's a sport. You jump, say, 6 meters and you're happy about it. But standing right there next to you, there's someone who can jump up to 6,000 meters. Well, if we're talking about it like a sport, that's just the reality.
Up to 6 kilometers.
What I do for myself and what I wish for my children as well. Right now, value is still being created. It hasn't been distributed yet.
They still have time. Our stability still has time.
Let us imagine for a moment that in the next 15 years, there will be 1,000 companies that capture every bit of this value. Almost all of it, right? 500 of them already exist today. The other 500 don't exist yet. These are new companies.
They won't grow out of the current ones?
Not these ones.
Are you sure?
There will be new ones, I'm quite sure. Thanks to all this artificial intelligence, there are enormous opportunities.
8 billion people and 500 companies. Well, that's just cosmic.
Yes, 500 companies.
I'm not talking about becoming one of those companies right now. To shake up the market, to become a Sergey Brin or a Mark Zuckerberg. I'm talking about just having a cool, strong, solid, maybe even medium-sized business.
Now we're getting to the point of what to do if you don't want to strive for that. I'm saying, as I see it, I need to become a shareholder in these companies. And it really does not matter one bit what percentage you own. That is the most important concept here. It really doesn't matter what your percentage is. Either you're a shareholder there or you're not. This is actually very important, because do you know exactly what kind of share the founder of Nvidia has in his own company?
A small one?
3%. He's already been diluted. The company is now worth $3 trillion. 3% of $3 trillion is $100 billion. His net worth is $100 billion. Even if you have 0.3% of Nvidia or 0.03% of Nvidia, that's a huge fortune, an enormous one. That is precisely why an extraordinarily vast number of people will eventually become exceptionally prosperous and wealthy as shareholders. Within these many thousands of different companies, there will be hundreds of thousands of individual shareholders who will all become immensely affluent. And you can become a shareholder in these companies. Either you invest at an early stage and pray that you come across a founder like that. Alternatively, you can build companies and then sell them for shares. That is how I became a shareholder of Ozone Ru. I sold them a company. I had created an online shoe store. Ozon bought my online store. Now, all of fashion on Ozon is that. That was something they once bought from me. I became a shareholder of Ozon, yes. And
Are you still a shareholder now?
no, I already sold my shares before the IPO, but that was a mistake. It was a mistake. But accordingly, now there are these large companies and they are constantly buying up other companies. Constantly. It's like a food chain. Some are bought for tens of millions, some for 100. And it just keeps going up and up. They have incredible access to capital. They practically have free money. They can buy up everything good that's being created in the world. So there is a way to become a shareholder there. And that's definitely something to strive for if you're an ambitious person.
That's what you recommend having?
Yes, you should definitely strive for it.
To become the owner of a company that will control the market.
Within these massive corporations, all of the power is heavily concentrated at the top. Accordingly, if you don't build such a company, then you're saying, no, I want to build a small business, a medium-sized one, or perhaps just a standard regular business. That means you're putting yourself in a vulnerable position. You are in a vulnerable position. You are harnessed into a system where there are thousands like you, and you are all in fierce competition. And most importantly, those thousands you are competing with could be in India, in Pakistan, anywhere, where they are willing to work for much less. For example, when a marketplace for design appeared, before there was artificial intelligence, 99 designs came onto the scene. If you needed a logo, you would submit your specifications, a bunch of designers would send you their proposals, and you would choose. It was a really cool marketplace, an awesome company. Naturally, it was mostly Indians, Pakistanis, and so on who won there. European designers had no chance to compete at all. They were willing to spend a full entire month designing just to secure a single victory and earn $1,000. But European designers simply were not willing to do that. That's why a seller on a marketplace is in a vulnerable position. Anything at all can be done to you.
Share, open up. Address everyone who sells on WB and Ozon.
Back in 2000, I was also a seller on a marketplace. You always had to keep searching for new products because as soon as you found a product that worked well, the marketplace openly shows all the statistics and everyone else can see that your product is doing well. And people like you, in a month there are 10, in 2 months 100, and 300, the margin goes down and that product becomes dead. Then you find the next product or you find some niche. At the same time, all the data is open and everything is transparent. Yes, everyone sees again that you found this product and it just goes in circles over and over. First, completely open information. And then second, when I first started being a seller, the commissions were only about 3%, 3% of the total revenue. That's what I paid to the marketplace. Then it was 4, then 5, then 6, then 8, then 10, then 13, then 15, then 17, and then 17 again. But at the beginning of the year, you have to pay $3,000 just to even be there. And so it goes on gradually, step by step. And there were always companies going bankrupt there, so they would always dump products even below cost price. So for the marketplace, it's great. They think if companies keep going bankrupt, it means super low prices for customers. They have all their goods in stock and they just need to get rid of them. And you have a lot of products on the marketplace, things are sold below
Cost price. Very good.
below cost price. It's insane competition. And then what happened? Numerous sellers from China came to this vibrant local marketplace in Germany.
And what happened?
Prices dropped. Inside the game, there's gold, a currency. We used to trade it. Then I went to China, and our competitors there had these farms where 1,000 people worked. Just imagine this. There's a room. In the middle of the room, there's a bowl of rice, a bunch of tables, and under the table, someone is sleeping. One person is mining, another is sleeping. When this one gets tired, he kicks the one underneath. They switch places. One sleeps, the other mines. They eat rice, and what you end up with is it's a deeply strategic choice. If you truly want to compete in this market, you absolutely have to do it this way, you see? And are you really ready with your own personal human values to run a human farm like that? Well, for example, I personally wasn't ready. At that specific moment, I said to myself, I'm just not ready to work in that kind of environment.
To exploit people.
Yes, it's a very competitive environment. And look, the marketplace can do whatever it wants with you. They have a certain demand, right? They like to motivate new players who have just entered the market. As soon as they give you a bit of demand, you come in, things start working for you right away, and that's profitable for them. Then that demand gets redistributed again, and you lose out. They can do whatever they want at any moment. This isn't the government. These aren't elected positions. They can do whatever they want. Simple as that. They can shut down your segment. They can do anything at all. They can put you under sanctions. If you don't satisfy 99.99% of your customers positively, they can ban you for a month. So you end up trapped in the system like a lemming, basically. Looking at it from this perspective.
The year 2024, any questions? Tell me. The year 2024.
Yes.
Your child is doing business, selling something on a marketplace.
That's great. I call it a university just to learn.
His revenue is 200 million rubles.
Yes.
And now he comes to me and says, Dad,
nice one.
Good for him, Dad. I want to grow even more. Give me some advice. What would you do now? What should I take into account? I watched Grebenyuk's podcast with you. You were really impressive. I was inspired to get into marketplaces. What would be the next step you'd suggest if your child had an annual revenue of 200 million rubles on a marketplace on WB?
First of all, 200 million on WB, that's not the same as 200 million. Specifically, what does the person do? For example, does he produce some kind of unique product?
Let's say tables. He has a furniture manufacturing business.
If, for example, he goes to Sadovod and buys masks there, that's basically a road to nowhere. You need to have a strategy. Do you know where to play and how to win? Where are you playing and how do you win? If you don't know where to play and how to win, it's just a temporary scheme and it's only a matter of time before it ends. 100%.
It's just a matter of time before I burn out doing marketplaces blindly.
It's just a path. If there are, a very simple question, how many people like you are there?
Thousands.
At the finish line. Some of them will work under the table, some won't pay taxes, they'll constantly. Are you ready for that?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
You need to choose some kind of strategy, well, some kind of change your business model. But at the same time, it's cool. You're my son, right? You've learned how to purchase goods, to sell goods, analyze, hire people, motivate people, do things. Yeah, you really felt that you could do something with your own hands, just like that. Boom, make something happen. That's why for me, it's a really great school for how you can quickly teach a person. Why so many people are sent there en masse. Because he created an account, listed a product, and off you go to the means. Building a more complex business is harder. But here, you can quickly teach all the mistakes. What your turnover is, why all the money goes into the product, margin, working with leftovers. And you've already learned something cool. Now, the next business venture you do will be something much more interesting and more viable. Some kind of business model that has a strategic position you can actually defend. One where any person can just come in tomorrow and undercut you on price. And you're just like him.
How would you advise your child to look for this model?
You could call it a dating style business model. Just like we choose a girl, go on several dates, and try ourselves out with many different options. I suggest doing the same in business. Accordingly, to get to know yourself better and to understand the world better, you at least need to be aware of everything that exists in the world.
Go on dates?
Yes, go on dates with business models. Read books about what business models exist. Oh, I can imagine myself doing this and this one too. When there's this kind of thing in the world, study them. What kinds are there in the world anyway? Oh, there are podcast studios like this in the world. How does that work? Oh, here's something like this. Then how do water parks work? And how do B2B SaaS businesses work at all? Why is that? Financial services. What is there in financial services in general? What kinds of things are there? And you study the world, and each time you try it on for yourself. And sooner or later, you'll be able to draw a line from point A to point B, and you'll see that you can do it. You'll like it. It will be an emotion. Basically, it's something that stirs your emotions. For example, this business in Germany really excites me. You were listening to me and thinking, damn, why Oskar? Why is he so into these things, right? Yeah, no, it seems like, well, I didn't really feel a strong emotion, right? Like you tried to...
I wasn't breathing.
Yeah.
No, really, I wasn't breathing because of how interested I was.
Yeah.
I never looked away from your eyes during the podcast. And right now, I still have a set of 10 questions ready. So you didn't expect that. I really liked your model with a rehabilitation center in Europe. It's really cool. If I were in your place...
It's awesome and kind to help.
Heal. It's kind, it's awesome.
And there's no conflict of interest, unlike other medical fields. There's no conflict of interest here.
I'll keep an eye on how my face looks with you.
There's a very cool business model in Europe and America helping couples conceive. As people have kids later now, they often struggle.
Because of age?
Yes. Almost everyone in Europe. In America, people start having children at 35, and half of them can't do it anymore without help. And this business of helping couples have a child is just, to me, it's mega, mega 3, but
On parenting, I'd say
baby tips
if a child goes missing on WB, what should you do?
right now. The most interesting game right now represents a truly unique opportunity for investors. From the year 2024 until 2034, we expect that 1,000 brand new and incredibly successful businesses will emerge across the world stage. However, all these thousands of new businesses that are set to appear in the global market will unfortunately not be coming to Russia. To put this into perspective, during the period from 2012 to 2024, there were 1,600 of these new successful companies created.
That appeared.
New ones, yes. New companies that didn't exist before with a capitalization of more than $1 billion. My forecast is that over the next 12 years, so to speak, there will be fewer, 1,000. But because artificial intelligence is changing everything right now, there might even be more. Let's assume it's 1,000 new things. They won't come. They won't come. And here lies an opportunity. It's like you have a newspaper from the future. For example, I was just traveling with my girlfriend. She lives in Switzerland and works for a huge pharmaceutical company. Right now, they're inventing molecules and specific drugs there that are actually learning to cure one type of cancer after another. None of these things will exist in the future. And she is actually moving from Switzerland to Russia right now simply because it is such an incredibly easy way to get rich. If there won't be any of these things left for her there, if there is no AI that creates these things, the people living here will unfortunately die. You understand that, right? They just won't be available anymore. That's just one example with medicine. But besides medicine, there will be a ton of other essential things too. But with medicine, it's very clear. Imagine, for example, they've learned how to cure something like prostate cancer or something like that. And then they say, we simply do not sell it in Russia.
On principle.
Yes, on principle. If there isn't an entrepreneur here who will do it, then people here will die. That's how it is everywhere. This includes checklist building tools and various AI applications in the industrial sector for major oil companies, for banks, for busy call centers, and for professional lawyers. Everything. 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 Right now, there are 10 million experiments being conducted in the world. Out of those, 1,000 will be successful. And those 1,000 successful ones won't be in Russia.
That's possible.
Accordingly, at this very moment, this is the biggest game. The most brilliant minds are looking for which experiments in the world are successful and quickly bringing them here. That's arbitrage. It's the dumbest, simplest way to become a highly successful and wealthy individual. Right now, it's literally a game that, by the way, very few people are playing. Unlike sellers, there are 300,000 of them on marketplaces. But the people who do this, there are 300.
400?
500.
Are you one of them? I am.
I actually love it. Look, I'm an encyclopedia of business models. I watch everything every day. That's all I do. I watch everything that exists in the world, everywhere, what's happening, where I'm seeing everything in Australia, everywhere in the world. And naturally, my brain automatically thinks, oh, this worked in India, so it could work in Africa. Who's doing this in Africa and who's doing this in South America? Oh, this worked in America. It could work in Australia. For example, right now, one of my recent ones, the last 5 investments are in America, there's build rewards. It's cash back on rent payments. You spend the most money. People pay for apartment rent. There is no cash back available there and no loyalty system. So in America, build rewards created a loyalty system for rent payments. It has grown tremendously. It's profitable, a good company. Australia is exactly the same market as America, just smaller, of course. It's not a unicorn yet, but I think it will be. A $10 billion firm. That's my investment in Australia. Few worldwide do this because mostly...
You mean this transfer?
Yes. This kind of global transfer because mostly people do what the son of their mom's best friend does. People's frame of reference is he opened a gas station, or you go to Dagestan, and at one intersection there are 10 of the exact same business. Did it work out for someone? And everyone repeats like this. Well, look a little wider, few people look. There are business models that were invented here. Tinkoff made a new banking model.
Which went there.
Now, everywhere in the world today, in every single corner, they repeat the so-called Tinkoff playbook. Now, there is a specific book in which Tinkoff built his strategy. He started out with high-interest credit cards, high-yield ones, and so on. Then he did this specific kind of distribution. Then he launched it There's just a playbook on how to build Tinkoff Bank. Neobank, credit years, it's called neobanking. Now they're doing this everywhere. And even the guys from Baring Vostok moved to Kazakhstan and built Kaspi there. Kaspi's net profit this year is $2 billion. Even such a small market as Kazakhstan, if you have a large,
Processed it.
there are currently 5 located in India, 3 more over in Brazil, and another one in Azerbaijan. I have an investment in Azerbaijan. They are following the Tinkoff model. In Azerbaijan, it's a big business. We already have several million clients. It's not a small bank anymore. It's a good one. Vietnam, Nigeria, Kenya, everyone is repeating it. This business model was born here. There are some other business models too. Vikusville was born here. I think Vikusville will be all over the world.
And what is the uniqueness of Vikusville for you? What defines their unique business model?
I think their uniqueness is specifically their corporate culture. They have created a unique corporate culture, which is clientocracy with a focus on the quality of food products.
Isn't that simply the basis for business right now?
Strangely enough, no.
Make a good product just so people are satisfied.
It's like in the joke, there's a nuance. All the beauty of the world lies in the small nuances.
But at Tinkoff, it's not about small nuances. It's about truly radical model switches, abandoning branches and moving to online banking.
Look, Misha, you and I, for example, let's suppose, do you value achievement?
Yes,
I also value achievement. Do you value being a happy person?
Yes.
I also truly value being a happy person.
This feels like some kind of question funnel.
What's your priority?
I think for me, it's truly being happy. And personal achievement, they're so closely connected that...
Yeah, but if someone put a gun to your head, you'd have to choose a priority. What's your priority?
Being happy is the main priority.
But for me, achievement comes first. It's a small thing, it would seem, but everything else is the same. It's just the priority that's different. Small differences make a big difference. It's the same with business models. If you look at it cynically, all business models are the same. But small nuances add up. In all the diversity of the world, they make a huge, huge difference. Take Vikusville, for example. The quality is just a little bit better. The motivation system is a little different. All retailers, they come from cash and carry with more focus on logistics on that side, just a little bit better. I think this model could spread all over the world. Fast grocery delivery was born in Turkey. The company Getir came up with this business model. Now it's everywhere in the world, including Yandex copied it and created Yandex.Lavka. Yandex copies everything, really. All the top things in Yandex are copies of something from somewhere in the world. The experiment worked. Business models that are born in India. There are already 130 unicorns there. Some of them are unique to India. Often they don't fit Europe, but they are suitable for Africa, for Brazil, and also for Russia. Some are born in Korea. For example, right now in food services. A lot of trends are coming from Asia. All sorts of restaurants are appearing there. That's how the diffusion of business models happens. And I really like that. That's how great fortunes are made. In Germany, it's much harder to do this because every American company is already present in Germany within a year. That's why you need a very high speed. As for Russia, over the past 2 years, it's been about filling the gaps. Who has left the market and which business model can you take over? Yes, that game is already over. Now it's the next game. Who hasn't entered the market yet and who will take everything?
This is about high prices, about X20, X30, not just 15 or 20. Just their own profits.
You know, there's a paradox. It's actually easier to build massive companies than small ones.
Can you elaborate on that thought?
I think that if you're a seller on Wildberries and you're already successful, you can do it. Any other business. That's the hardest thing. Well, figuratively speaking, because the competition is not...
If you won the Wildberries game, you definitely...
Sure, selling on Wildberries is okay, but if you're successfully trading on Alibaba, then you're capable of handling anything else. You can handle anything. The owner of a pizzeria in Milan works as many hours as Sergey Brin or anyone else. Right across the street from him, another pizzeria has opened. So they're competing. He has negative emotions. He's working around the clock. It's easier to build a big business because it's easier to hire people. All young people now want to work for some kind of idea. Small businesses don't have an idea, no potential for growth. It's unclear where they're headed. So it's easier for them to hire people. You work with cool people because it's naturally much easier for other cool people to come work with you. For example, I can lead a great team. I'm not very good at managing, say, drivers. So I remember when I had drivers, it was tough. We had about 200 drivers and they were constantly you had to be pretty tough with them. It's a different management style. Or mostly small businesses. They don't have any employees at all.